Greetings from home. This day is a marker. There are pieces that are starting to fall in place on your little world. And we say your little world because it is one of the smaller numbers of planets that are on our horizon that we help to watch over. For there are many games throughout the universe that are going on. But we tell you this was the only one that had no rules. You decided to take all the rules off of this game in order to play and in order to find your reflection, to see God through the eyes of a human. That was the purpose of what you were intending to do. And you began by hiding your own power, by putting your power into things greater than you, that you could trust, that you could put your energy into. And it's worked very well for you up to a point. And now what you are finding is that much of what you have always put your power into is actually only reflecting your power. It is actually only a mirror that allows you to express your God self through this physical body on this planet. But we are starting to see that there is a critical mass that is now being reached, and that is why we call this day a marker. Because the critical mass is now starting to be holding the power inside rather than expressing it or giving it to something else. It does not mean that you must all change your belief systems. It does not mean that you must all start to listen to yourself, although we wish you would. It is simply the next level because the collective vibration is now beginning to take and hold your own power. And that has never happened before, especially on a planet where there were no guidelines. For that is the rules that are on other planets that are not here. It's not so much that they have direction, they have predetermination in many ways. They know where they will end up. You do not. And this allows an expression of the God energy to come through each and every one of you. Yet it's very difficult for humans to trust that. You have given so much energy to giving your power something greater than what you believed you were. To even discover your own greatness is very challenging for many of you to do. But now, the world is beginning to change as well. Everything is starting to move to where you can see a new vision of yourself and a little bit of your own true nature as a creator on planet Earth. We lovingly call you from this side of the veil, we call you the little gods. Walking around with the little blinders on, bumping into each other, asking everybody, have you seen God? Can you tell me about God? And you all walk around and play this beautiful game, not knowing who you are. That is changing. And that piece, today, we tell you has reached a critical mass, where those who are beginning to understand their power are now outweighing all the people that have constantly given their power to something else. We're not asking you to abandon your belief system. We are not asking you to change something that has worked for you. What we're asking you to do is to open your eyes and become aware of the true nature of who you are and the effect that you have on the world and the people around you. Many of you have chosen to become what we call light workers. The word light worker is a chosen title which is given to anyone who chooses to spread light on this planet. Very simply. Many of you have come in with that intent, yet you have been playing the game of being a quiet little private human. Now, the doors are open. We tell you you will not be exposed unless you choose to walk through that door. Many of you are very scared of that door, for it means you lose your safety. It means you start become exposed and vulnerable. And we tell you that's when you become the most powerful. That is the point when you can get comfortable with your own vulnerability, to where you can balance your male-female energy and be on purpose. And this is happening on a global basis because of the choices that each and every one of you are making in your own individual lives right now. We wish to also mention two other pieces. There is a huge redistribution of water still taking place as we originally predicted. It will continue for a time being. And what that means is that many people will have challenges with water. There's only 3 challenges with water: too much, too little, too dirty. And those 3 pieces you are harmonizing now to find this new revolution, the new vibration of planet Earth making a new spin, like a top starting to carry a new energy. You're creating an entirely new dimension for empowered humans to exist in these physical bodies that you have adapted. And this is getting exciting for every being throughout the universe to watch, because this has never happened before. You are leading the way, and because of that, all eyes of the universe are on planet Earth, watching every move that you make. This will be studied for eons of time as to how a planet can make a vibrational shift with every being on it without having to destroy it first. That has never happened before, and we hope that as much difficulties as many of you have in your life making this change, that you understand that you are part of this and that you have already helped to anchor this energy here. That's why it is reaching the critical mass that it is. So first of all, we tell you congratulations. You are stepping into your power. And lastly, we tell you also to share that with each other, because that's the easiest way to move. You have always believed, since you have given your power to something greater than yourself, that if you were going to be teaching or if you were going to offer your services, you would somehow have to be greater. And we tell you the paradigm for teachers has changed. You no longer can stand on a pedestal and still be effective as a teacher. What will take place for all of you is that you will find the new paradigm of walking next to your students and going through much of the difficulties and the challenges that they go through. For you will learn much more than they do in most cases. And as the teacher, you will use that knowledge to turn it around and represent it in a different way. So much of this is happening right now. The Earth itself is also going through the challenges of balancing a spinning top that is now out of balance slightly. This is not a bad thing. It is simply a new vibration which is creating a new dimension, not only for the Earth to exist in, but for all the beings, including the level of vibration that we call human. All of you, every part of the Earth is moving to this next level. Right now, you are seeing much of the cause and effect of that. For much of what you are experiencing has to do with water redistributing itself, finding the places where it is needed on this planet. Much of it has been for many reasons, but we tell you that you are now starting to think in a new consciousness. For even today, there are many places where the water comes out of the ground so fresh that you bottle it and send it all over the world. Well, that has caused a blending action, which is very magical. For water is actually energy. We know that you do not classify it as energy in your scientific realms, but we do. For one of the classifications for energy in our realm is that energy never dies. It simply transforms from one form to the other. And that is absolutely true of water. The water you are drinking in your little designer bottles today is the same water the dinosaurs drank. It is the same piece, carrying the same energy, carrying throughout the universe, for it does not limit it to planet Earth, and distributes love throughout the universe. And if you take that water in your body, with the intention of receiving the love of the universe, guess what will happen? The little gods will be right again, for you will create that. This is the way to harmonize with the water. For it must move, it must change to find this new balance. It does not have to destroy to find that balance. And what you have not known is that you can make a difference, much the way that you have already practiced that and worked with that. You are thinking there are billions of people on this planet. How can one make a difference? But we tell you, the one has all the power when you know how to access it and you know how to use it. And there is so much going on here with the water redistributing that the water in your own physical body is feeling a sympathetic vibration. And this is causing many of you to have upsets and difficulties and emotional challenges and physical challenges, especially anchored in the center of your being. It is almost as if you have lost your tether to planet Earth a little bit. You have lost your basic connection. At first it feels wonderful to lose the connection, and then you realize it's very difficult to not have that anchoring. You will find new ways to anchor. But we wish to tell you a little bit about our perception of human nature during these times of change. It's very simple to see that you go from one level to the next as if you were stepping up a ladder and you're raising your vibration. But it's also important to understand that the moment a human gets scared, they take a step back down the ladder. Can you live there? No. Most of you go, what am I doing here? I must go right back up the ladder and turn around and go back up. And many of you judge yourselves for taking that step down the ladder. Please do not do that. Who would judge God? Not I, not you. That is not the peace that you are looking for. What we ask you to do is simply find a place to use it. Find one place where you can leak some of that energy out and another person can receive it in different ways. And there are so many pieces of this happening. But if you look at the larger perspective of what is going on in the planet, there are many pieces of this that are taking place right now. You can watch it, you can watch the world go by, or you can anchor your energy as a little god on this planet and hold your thoughts and share those thoughts openly with others on the planet, others who are ready to listen. You will make more of a difference than you ever understood. But it is also very common, much like stepping one back into old belief systems or stepping down the ladder. It's also common when humans get scared or lose their anchoring that their world shrinks and gets very small. Now there is a lot of misunderstanding about this. So let us share with you our perception of this. What happens when a human is outside, has no place to sleep, has no place for shelter, and has no food? Basically, your world is very small. Your world, your energy field, is very tight around your body at that point because you are anchored on the basics. And if someone comes along and says, oh, dear one, what are you doing there? Let me give you a blanket. Let me give you some food. Let me give you a place. For that moment, you become completely happy. Now here is the illusion that has taken place on planet Earth. And the illusion is that you believe that if one blanket can help you, that 5 will somehow make you 5 times happier. And you start collecting things. And you start gathering all the things that you've ever wanted because you know that if you have a bigger house, it will make you happier somehow. And you go to adding these collections of things that you add into your life. And then there comes a point where your possessions own you. And then all of a sudden, you find this great freedom in releasing and letting go. know the understanding in the beginning. It takes very little to be happy. Your confusion comes from the moment you find happy, you want it to be set for the rest of your life. So you try to figure out all the details of how am I going to be happy tomorrow? How am I going to be the next day? How am I going to be sure that I am happy for the rest of my life? And all we ask you to do is anchor it today. Smile. Let that energy come through you right now. And tomorrow will take care of itself in a very magical way. We also wish to tell you one piece of this. Because things change when your worlds get small. Your effect on the world economies has already had a huge trigger. For when your worlds get small, you think about survival. You do not spend money. You do not flow energy in the same way. You draw it tightly around you and you fail to plan for something down the future. Many of you are not thinking next year. Many of you are not thinking where you're going to be 5 years. Although that has been your patterns up to this point, most of you have drawn your energy very closely around you thinking, what am I going to do today? Dream. That's what we ask you to do. Know that you're not limited in the same way. Come together to dream and share those dreams with everyone else around you. And start to see how the little gods can make a difference on planet Earth. You are all playing the same game. You all came the same energy. You will all express it in slightly different ways. For that is why you came. You have a unique expression of energy that can only be brought from you. The economics of this world are another issue that we wish to briefly touch on. We started this message by telling you that today was a marker day, that the people that were taking their power have finally overnumbered the people that are constantly giving their power away. And that means that an idea has caught hold. That is all humans need. That is all the little gods need to take off the veil and see who they are and start harmonizing with the other gods. Very simple stuff. And what has happened is because of the shrinking and because of your worlds getting small, there are bubbles in your economy which have caused many problems. And we will tell you that if you consider your economy to be here, there is still a vacant space right below it, and it could very easily, and we're talking globally here, take several dumps down. You are seeing the problems throughout the world. They are no longer limited to any one country or any one culture. It is starting to show in many areas. You know why it has happened. You have taken off many of the rules that you had in place to make sure things were there because you wanted to grow. You wanted to have 5 blankets. You wanted to have more and more and more. And now you have an opportunity to reevaluate what your true needs are and what this is about for you. And we are not telling you you cannot be abundant. Furthermore, we hope that you get comfortable with abundance. Because if you are actually bringing heaven to earth, the one piece that you have wrong is your conceptions of abundance. Is you still believe in lack and limitation for the most part. It is reflected in your economies. And you can see very clearly that most of the world still believes that if you have a lot, it means they cannot. That is not what economies do. That is not how the world works. The world works that when everybody is comfortable and exchanging, there is growth, there is movement, there is every part of it. But when you pull yourself in and think about everything in the area of survival, that is what you put out, and that is what you create. So the question we ask you today, how small is your world? And what would you like to do with it? We tell you this for a very simple reason. We have seen the need for another crash in your economic markets in order to get rid of this bubble. But now we have seen something new. Because everything was in place for the economy to go down, for that bubble to finally hit and release to where you could actually start building on solid ground. And this has been a concern in many areas, for many of your governments are right on the edge of losing everything. But it is not about your governments. It is nothing they need to do. This power is held with each and every one of you. And if you will simply reach your world and look at your decisions in relationship to how big my world is. Did I make this decision out of fear? Or am I making this out of love? Am I looking to grow? Am I looking to empower other people? Am I looking to make those moves? Now you will find where your true motivations are. And many of you who have gathered all the blankets, who have received the homes and then gotten other homes and multiple cars and all the fun things, we tell you, you are not wrong. But we also tell you that it does not bring that many times more happiness. For the happiness is right in the beginning. It's the very small piece of it that fulfills what you need to pretend to be a human on planet Earth. For your spirit needs very little. Grow that part and work with that. And watch as your world begins to change, because we no longer believe that the economies need to crash. You can only look back for less than a month, and you will see the market raise and lower according to expectations. Whose expectations? Everyone expected all the economy to go very flat over recent movements. It has not. Why? Because there are little gods out there that are seeing the opportunities, that are starting to think 5 years down the road, that are starting to build something that will grow. And even though they're scared, they're taking a breath and letting their worlds become big again. That will help you take your power. Feel the resistance, feel your challenges, feel your fears. Just don't live by them. It is with the greatest of honor that we ask you to treat each other with respect, for you are looking in the eyes of God when you look into another's eyes. Treat each other with respect, nurture one another every chance you get, and play well together. Espavo.